Well, we're talking about marketing and brands. So when I talk about a marketing strategy, it's all about the capability of a company which can keep up with the ever-evolving demand and expectation of the consumer. And to throw some light on this brand engagement in the connected era, I'm going to call upon our next speaker. Well, he comes with a rich experience of over 17 years, having worked in an automotive space in different markets and dynamics. A Volvo veteran, having spent over 8 years with the company, he started his journey with Volvo in 2009. He has worked in various markets including Japan, China, the US and Sweden. His experience is in handling a fast emerging economy will hold him in good stead for spearheading the Volvo Cars entrenchment in the India luxury car segment. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here I speak about the very respected gentleman, none other than Ms. Charles Frump, Managing Director, Volvo Car India, who holds the responsibility of overall planning and operations for the company to head its India operations. So with a huge round of applause, can we have Mr. Charles Frump on the stage, please? Welcome, sir.
There we go. Can you hear me okay? All right, hello everyone. My name is Charles Frump. I have to say, coming up here after Sudhir's speech is fantastic timing. I absolutely love that work and the talk about purpose. And I think it's going to link very well to the talk I'm going to give today. Particularly the six-pack band work is outstanding and moving, and you know, I think a little professional jealousy there, I have to admit to. Fantastic work, fantastic work. So how do I flip the, is it this one? Yeah. Very good. So I'll talk a little bit about brand engagement in the digital world, but I think in the end, I also, and I like the Sudhir's speech because it blends very well into mine about purpose. So just a bit on me. I'm here because I think, you know, brands and business go together, and this is something that I have felt passionate. I'm a marketer by trade, and now in a more general management role. But it's fun for me to come here and speak on an area of my passion. So what I'll go through today is I'll talk give you a little bit of background on my journey and who I am. We'll talk about how marketing has evolved and a new approach that we're taking at Volvo and some work that others are taking that we admire. We'll talk about linking very closely to the previous speech about purpose and about a purpose-driven framework to drive engagement. I'll show you a few case studies and then a few takeaways. How does that sound? Good. All right, so a little about me. I would consider myself a global citizen. I've lived in 6 different countries, Asia, Europe, Americas. I'm originally American. And I think the best thing about living in different parts of the world, of course, is the food. And I cannot say more about the great, you know, I've been here now 2 years in India, and the fantastic cuisine that we have in this country is really something that has really driven my happiness over the last couple of years. I'm lucky enough to be able to travel north, south, east, and west, and really enjoy all the cuisine of India. Unfortunately, it's put a dent in my ice hockey career, and I doubt that, you know, now that I looking back, my dreams of being a professional ice hockey player are probably, you know, not going to happen. But I am one of the few people actually playing ice hockey in India. I play in Delhi every Thursday, so if anybody's interested in picking up a stick and some skates, come out and play with us sometime. I would say for the modern world, I think trained in a reasonable way for marketing. I was a math major undergraduate in the US. I went to a school called St. Olaf. Some of my, in addition, then I went to UCLA. I was a international marketing major, and some of my UCLA colleagues have joined today, so hello, welcome. Marketing for me has always been exciting. I like the opportunity to inspire people. I like that it works both sides of my brain. that I can, have the creative side mixed with the analytics side, and I think marketing does that. And now I think in more of a general management role, I really appreciate and understand the importance and the strategic nature of marketing, and it's great for me to come up and have the chance to talk a bit about it today. I talked a bit about this. I've worked in the US, China, and Japan, in Sweden as well at the headquarters at Volvo. So 2 brands, 19 years in the business, very much automotive, and I think relevantly prior to this role, I was the head of marketing communication and essentially all advertising globally for Volvo. So all agency relationships, all film campaigns, content came from the team I was working with. So very exciting to be back talking about an area that I love. And here's a quote from Henry Ford about learning, and I think that in the time that I've been working in this business, certainly the learning has never stopped and can't stop. And I look at how marketing has changed since I got mixed up in this business, right? It was, for us in the US, working for the Ford brand, it was a very simple recipe for us. We would, get a nice 30-second ad right before Friends started on Thursday nights, and people would rush to the dealerships on Saturday. It was a very nice, simple world. We would encourage our dealers to buy 0% cash back ads on Friday so people would come in on Saturday. It was a simpler world, and certainly I think has changed. I also would like to reiterate that I do believe in the power of TV, and I still think that this happens, and I think it's exciting for us to say that TV is dead, but I also agree that there is a very strong place for TV in our media mix. So basically a lot of change for us and how we approach the business, and it's really driven by the customers changing. Right now, we're heading towards a point where the majority of our customers are now millennials, and they have a different take on the world and advertising, right? We have to be more relevant. We don't have captive audiences like we used to have. We have to connect with them. We have to understand their passions, because they will accept or reject us very quickly. And I think it's interesting to see now that millennials, and this is, I thought, quite insightful for us, that 91% of this generation would switch brands for one that is championing their cause. And I think this really lends itself well to the concept of purpose, right? And a new way to engage and have people engage in our brand. So certainly brand first. I look at the previous presentation, and you don't see a lot of product. It's about the brand. We are doing the same kind of approach. So less about how quickly the car is going from 0 to 100, more about who we are as a company. We want to do things and then talk about them, not just say things. And in essence, then, this is a very strong link to purpose. So I'll give you a bit of a framework about how we think about purpose-driven marketing and how that drives engagement at Volvo. Simply, and I'll walk you through each of these: know it, own it, deliver it, share it, and walk it. And I'll give you some examples along the way. So knowing it, really, it starts with, I think, really understanding who you are as a company and as a brand. So this is a quote that everyone in Volvo knows, and it's by our founders. So cars are driven by people, and the guiding principle behind everything we make at Volvo, therefore, is and must remain safety. So from the very beginning, our purpose has always been safety. And I think we've often kept this purpose, I think, a little inside, maybe not let it out as much as we should have. There were times when we did, though. This is looking back at an ad that ran now many years ago, but I think looks still fantastic today. So the seat belt invented by Volvo in 1959 and in fashion ever since. So that kind of work, even at that time, our purpose was starting to come through, and that consistency comes with it. Some of the work back in the day, 100 to 0 in 3.2 seconds in a very beautiful car. Look at that. We design every Volvo to look like this. This kind of work wasn't really being done at that time. And we were even lampooned in a movie about, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but this is from that movie, by Volvos. They're boxy, but they're good. So be safe instead of sexy. So I think these things, when a movie is making fun of you for your purpose, at least they understand your purpose very clearly, which I think was a good sign. So really digging in, when you're working with clients, if you are a client, digging into really who they are and really knowing that, I think, is very much the first start, because that's where the authenticity comes from. So next is owning that. So owning this purpose, owning it. And at Volvo, we have made this very explicit and I think external by stating visions and being very public in our vision statements. So most famous for us has been 0 people killed or injured in a new Volvo by 2020. So this is something that for the past 10 years we've been working on, and the company is completely driven by this vision. And we've seen over the last 10 years that deaths in Volvos have plummeted over time. And this has driven our innovation and driven who we are. And I think really revealing that and letting customers know about that tells people and potential customers about who we are. We've also broadened safety, and to make it about those outside of the car, especially in terms of the environment. And for us, that means electrification. So we've pledged to have 1 million electrified cars on the road by 2025. And then getting to our Swedish heritage, gender equality is extremely important. In fact, it's a given in Sweden. And this is a very relevant topic for our customers, and I think a very relevant topic in India. And we've made a pledge to have 30% female leaders globally by 2025. And these are things that we've used as public statements to anchor us and really owning who we are and owning our purpose. And finally, once you know who you are and you own it, then it's really getting the word out and delivering it. And let me share a little bit of work that we did globally to talk about safety in a very relevant way for our young customers.
Honey, everyone's a little bit nervous in the first day of school.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you do. You can decide.
Maybe I can make some new friends.
Okay, then what happens?
Then I'll travel the world. Then I'll get a job.
Okay, and then?
And I want a house.
Of course.
And my own family.
Yeah.
And my daughter.
Okay. And then what?
And I can sing the...
Well, that sounds like a good plan, don't you think?
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
So this is really making safety relevant in the age that we live in, and really bringing home the point about what's important to us as a company. Now, we've also done some work around the environment that I'd like to share. So this is some of the work that we're doing globally that talks about who we are as a company. But I think in India now, I think it's important to make it relevant to our customers here. And this is some work that my team here has done over the past year. Certainly in Delhi, where I live, when Diwali comes around, the environment becomes a big issue. And we certainly at Volvo, we admit we're part of the problem, but we want to do better. And this really talks about what we can do now as we move forward into a fully electrified world.
The air quality in India is dipping. The common man is being robbed of a basic right: clean, breathable air. The rising level of pollution in the country has made clean air a luxury. Add to that the Diwali season, when firecrackers make the situation worse. Volvo, a car brand that has always put the needs of people in the core of their design and innovation, employed clean zone technology inside the cars and committed to electrification and greener technology. But there was another bigger question we had to address. Could clean and breathable air be democratized? We decided to take up the challenge of finding economical ways to extend our own clean zone technology to those who need it the most. And that is how the Breathe Free campaign was born. We initiated by releasing a hard-hitting video right before the extreme pollution season hit the country.
Twinkle little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the world so high.
Reimagining the popular children's rhyme, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, we asked people to join us in our vision of democratizing the air. And received a strong response, with multiple publications carrying the video and its message. We could not do this alone. So we reached out to the younger generation and made them a part of the solution. With the help of ASOCHAM, an NGO working towards a sustainable future, we reached out to schools across Delhi. Their Persevian, a tech startup, helped us inspire the kids and shape their innovative ideas. With their help, we also created over 1,000 kits, which were then given away to the most polluted regions of the city. To give the movement more scale, we used our showrooms across different cities to hold similar workshops for kids and their parents. Clean zones were created at the most polluted junctures of NCR for traffic cops who bear the brunt of pollution all day long. And on Diwali, we wanted to reach out to the largest section of citizens. So, we turned to newspapers. With purifying membranes attached, we reached out to car drivers. It all began with a simple thought, and the response received was heartwarming. Across social media, people engaged and showed overwhelming support. The Indian press wasn't far behind. School kids across Delhi were educated about the effects of pollution.
In a single strand of our hair.
Air purifying kits created by them were provided to underprivileged families. Their unique ideas shaped and implemented for traffic cops and cars. In the end, we managed to start a much-needed conversation around clean air. And we don't intend to stop.
Thank you. So you've seen how we did our vision on safety and how we brought that to life globally. You've seen our vision on the environment and how we wanted to to move forward and help. And now I want to share a little bit about our third vision about gender equality. So this, I think, is a very important topic currently in India and globally. And one of the things that really hit home for us was that our cars and many cars were not equally safe for men and women. Right? This was a shocking discovery for us. And it comes down to a very simple reason, right? I think all of us have seen crash films where we see dummies rocking around and all of the tests that are done by various governments around the world. All of those crash test dummies are the size of middle-sized men. That's how they're designed. So all of the testing was maximized for middle-sized men. And really this, we recognized through now almost 20 years of analyzing real crash data that women were getting injured more than men in our cars, and we needed to change. So we analyzed this data, and we've made improvements, and basically more neck injuries, more chest injuries, and we've made product improvements to equalize this. But we didn't feel this was enough. You saw earlier the seatbelt. Since 1959, the seatbelt. So back in 1959, Volvo invented the three-point seatbelt. And instead of keeping that, we, without any royalties, released that to the world without patent. And we wanted to do something similar in the modern age. So what we did is we took all of the data that we've gathered from literally hundreds, literally thousands of actual crash data. We took out the data where women were injured, and we created a virtual crash test dummy for women. And that crash test dummy we named Eva, and we'll show you about it.
I'm like any other girl. I live a pretty normal life. Wake up, have some breakfast, get some fresh air, go to work, and dive right into the grind. At work, it's pretty much the same routine, but it never gets old. Some days are hard, really hard. But in the end, they're worth it. This is my normal. I'm just like any other girl. The odds are always stacked against me. But I keep going, so the world can't ignore us anymore.
So basically, we took what was a global initiative with Eva and the crash test dummy and took this into a very relevant area for India, which is gender equality, right? And I think that this then, the combination of these two made it extremely relevant for our customers and really had a very good impact for us. Now, we're not the only ones doing purpose-driven marketing. We've seen some of the work from Unilever, fantastic work. Has anybody seen the Nike work in the US around Colin Kaepernick? I mean, this is incredible work starting conversations. He's Nike decided to back Colin Kaepernick, who is a black quarterback standing up for equal rights. And by doing so, and this is extremely controversial in the United States, the ad alone, the stock dropped 2 or 3% in a day. Now, eventually they've come back, of course, but the credibility they've made in the United States has been unbelievable, and it's work that I personally admire and encourage you to take a look at if you haven't seen. Some other work that I absolutely love here in India is some work from Gillette, and let me share this for you.
बापू कहते हैं बच्चे जो देखते हैं उसी से सीखते हैं। जुग जुग जिया अब यहाँ के तौर तरीके ही देख लो। जुग जुग जिया सुलाला नवा भवनवा के भाग जागल हो। लड़के क्या कर सकते हैं और लड़कियाँ क्या नहीं, ये तो यहाँ दिख ही जाता है। भाग जागल हो। पिताजी का पेशा ही ले लो, शायद लड़कों को विरासत में मिलता है, मगर ऐसा नहीं कि लड़कियों को कुछ नहीं मिलता। मैंने देखा है उन्हें भी मिलता है, गृहस्थी, रसोई, घर की जिम्मेदारी। नाची नाची गावेली बहिनिया ललन के खेलावेली हो। जुग जुग जिया सुललनवा।
क्यों काका, दाढ़ी बना दूं?
हाँ हाँ।
बापू ये लड़की होके उस तरह चलाएगी?
अरे बेटा, उस तरह को क्या पता कि चलाए वाला लड़का है या लड़की? क्यों? चल बेटा फटाफट दाढ़ी बना।
हाँ।
बच्चे जो देखते हैं उसी से सीखते हैं।
Absolutely amazing work, and we very much admire it. And I guess when you think about purpose and you see a piece like this, how can you not watch this and not think differently about the brand that brings this to you? This is truly how you link and become relevant to our customers, and I think that's just fantastic work, and I wanted to point it out. We have to be careful when we do this, right? If we don't do it right, there can be a lot of backlash. We noticed this, an example of a supermarket in Europe called Iceland that said, we're going to take out all of the palm oil from all of our products. And they said it to the world. One, the relevancy of that is a question, and then they didn't do it, which is also a problem. So actually doing it is important. So this, and the kickback and blowback from this was big. So we need to be careful when we do this, is just the point. So in the interest of time now, I will wrap up fairly quickly here. So I think most of us in this room know how to do this right. We know that the timing for a campaign based on the environment is around Diwali. Timing is important. We know that social media isn't free. We need to budget for it. We know we need to go across all platforms, and I think particularly PR these days. That's sometimes a gap that we don't close as well as we should. And then, in the end, most importantly, walking the walk. Walk it is the last for purpose marketing. For us, safety is it. We were the first car in India to have radar-enabled preventive safety. Electric vehicles were the first company in India for a plug-in hybrid. We're the first one to assemble a plug-in hybrid. And I think most proudly for us, after just 2 years, we've gone from 1% to 23% women in our local sales company. And now our dealers have also pledged to have at least one woman in every sales consultant in every dealership across India. So walking the walk, of course, closing that loop is important. So finally, this work could not be done without the excellent help of our agency partners. And I think as brands, we sometimes forget the hard work that you do on our behalf. We've had an incredible partnership in Sweden with Forsman and Bodenfors, along with WPP globally. Here in India, we have a fantastic relationship with WPP, particularly Gray and Mindshare, and also our PR agency, Integral. So for those of you working on brands, remember to thank all those people working hard on your behalf. We appreciate it, and really none of this work could have been done without the great work from our agencies. So thank you very much for that. And really, this is just the framework to summarize. Know it, own it, deliver it, share it, and walk it. And this is how we feel and live at Volvo. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Frump. I'm going to ask you to stay back, please. On behalf of E4M Conclave, I'd like to request Mr. Ashok Jalan, Managing Director, Lakshya Media Group, to kindly step onto the stage and felicitate our very own Mr. Charles Frump. A very warm welcome, Mr. Alok Jalan, Managing Director, Lakshya Media Group, for felicitating our dignitary, Mr. Charles Frump. Thank you so much.